A day in the life of a nobody. A day in the life of a nobody.
There was an interesting thing where a woman was describing the aspects of a narcissist. So, sense of self-importance, preoccupation with power, beauty, success, entitled, found around people who are important or special, personally exploitative for their own gain, arrogant, lack empathy, must be admired. And I'm sad to say, I think my mother's one, a narcissist. I mean, this is classic, isn't it? Adult blames their parents, particularly their mother, for all of their woes. Well, I'm not complaining about my woes. I don't hold her responsible, apart from the woes that she's bringing to my life now, which are making me responsible for her happiness and never happy. And having put every obstacle in the way that she can to make it hard for me to make her happy. So, for example, not moving near to where we live, but insisting on staying in the family home that she and my father had built, which is 4 hours away from here. So in their demise, they never considered moving closer to us because they would somehow lose the symbol of what they'd achieved, which was the house. But now that they are, well, my dad died last year. My mum has been in a state of crisis, well, from about 6 months before he died, and is still in that nearly a year later. Yep. And rings up, I mean, I think she has dementia, she rings up, she has no short-term memory, rings up every day. I'm lonely, when are you coming to get me? It's like, well, you don't want to move. No, but, basically her ideal would be that we just moved into her house and sat with her while she cries and bemoans the fact that it's not 10 years ago when everything was fine. But neither of my parents had any kind of sense of planning in terms of the future. They just lived in the present, and there's something to be admired about that. But the consequences now are dire for me and my sister, because we're trying to be good children and look after her, but we have lives that are 4 hours away, and children and responsibilities and jobs. And she has become this distilled, simplified version of herself that just wants us to sit with her. I just want my family. I just need to be near my family. I want my family around me. Yeah, to do what though? We can't just sit there all day answering the same question, because she's on a sort of 2 to 3 minute loop. I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do? What do you mean by that again? I know you said I should move, but what does that mean? So, I mean, it's just... And then she's deaf as well, so you have to repeat everything twice. So not only are you repeating everything every sort of 3-4 minutes anyway, you're repeating what you're repeating more loudly so that she can hear it. So, I mean, her natural instinct is to say, pardon? Or what did you say? Even if you start saying it loudly, she automatically gets you to say it again anyway. It sounds like I'm complaining. And I am, because she drives us to distraction. We've considered bringing her here to live with us. There's absolutely no way on earth we could do that, because it would destroy our marriage, our lives, everything. She's all-consuming. It's all about her and how miserable and sad and how shit her life is now, and how she wishes it was 10 years ago. Well, okay, we can all wish that, but nothing we can do about it. It's not going to happen. But she exhibits all the sort of the signs of a sort of narcissistic person, in that she doesn't see it from our point of view. She only sees it from her point of view, and doesn't understand why we're not just doing everything she wants, and assumes it's because we don't care about her, or whether she actually believes that or not, but she certainly says that, which obviously is not nice to hear and not true. But she tells everybody, I don't think my children don't care, don't love me anymore, or my children don't care. And so we get opinions of neighbours and other people who she talks to as well, which is nice to have them going, well, your mum knows you don't care about her. I was like, that's not true. And it's how lovely that she said that to you. Yeah, she will do anything she can to get what she wants. She will speak to anybody that will listen. She will get them to ring us while she's standing behind them, to tell us things we have heard from her, 1,000 times, but to tell us again with somebody else's voice. She literally will do she threatens suicide all the time. She said, I'm going to throw myself down the stairs, I'm going to drown myself in the bath, I'm going to throw myself into the road. And she says this to everybody. There's a friend down there at the moment who took her out to a concert last night who's had the same threat. Nobody wants to be with me, my family don't love me, nobody cares, I might as well just throw myself down the stairs. Fortunately, most people, there are a few exceptions, but most people are beginning to see past it now and realise she's not the victim that she plays any more than anybody else is. We're all, victims of our circumstances, but she, in her world, is the only one that's being hard done by, and everybody else is selfish and just looking out for themselves instead of her. It's not what I expected from my mother. I have lost all respect for her because it's not like her personality has entirely changed with this sort of dementia and coming on. Her personality is the same, it's just simplified down to a few stock phrases and ideas and anxieties. But they were always there. It was always about her. When we moved up to Shropshire from Surrey, so she lives in Kent, we lived in Surrey. She used to see us once a week or so. And then we moved to Shropshire, and she accused us of taking her grandchildren away from her, of being selfish, of ruining her life, she literally could not be happy for us in any way, shape or form. It took me actually saying to her, okay, then, if you can't be happy, all we've heard since we said we were moving is this tirade of, abuse from you about how it affects you. Well, I'm doing this because it's my family, it's my dream, I want to fulfill that with them, for them. It's nothing to do with you. I'm sorry, there we go. And I sort of put the phone down, didn't speak for about 3 weeks. And then I think my father rang. Said, well, your mother, well, she didn't mean that. She's just worried about what will happen to her when I go, which is interesting because that's what's kind of happened. And I was like, well, obviously we'll look after her, don't worry. And then she was nice as pie for about a year. Oh, I can see why you moved here. It's always lovely. Oh, I can see why you've done this. And then gradually every phone call, well, you live so far away, of course, we never see you. Yes, but you're retired, you could come up here as often as you like. But you always demand of us, you never offer, you never say, oh, we'd love to come up and see you. Should we come and see you? Can we come and see you? Never say that. When are you coming to see us? You live so far away, when are you coming to see us? There was always a sense from both my parents that we owed it. There was never any kind of, we miss you. We'd love to come and see you, maybe in the next weekend or so. And we'd have gone, yeah, that'd be great. Come up, lovely. Because we've got busy lives and you're retired, so it would be helpful. But what they would prefer is us to drop everything and bring our children and ourselves and everything down to see them and sit with them in a room. Oh, this is nice. Doing nothing. Of course, my children weren't interested in doing that because it was way too boring. All the stories were the same and repeated from the last time we saw them. And also we live in a big sort of farm with fields, and there's lots and lots of things we have to upkeep to maintain our life here. No understanding of that. It was just how it had affected them negatively and what were we going to do about it. So I suppose that you wonder where their selfishness ends and yours begins. Am I the selfish one for wanting to provide my family with the best environment possible to grow up in and not taking them into account in the same way? I suppose the only way I could compare it favourably for me is to say that if I was in my mother's situation, I would definitely, if I wanted help from my children, because I felt I needed it, or I would like it, A, I would ask them rather than demand it, and B, I would move to be close to them so that it wasn't so much effort and so much of a nightmare to deal with as it is for the situation with my mother, where she lives 4 hours away. And when she goes into hospital, which she did about a month and a half ago, I had to go and stay in her house for a week and visit her every day. So I had to sort of not work, not earn any money, leave my wife, leave all the jobs I had to do here, which were many because we were moving house at that point. We haven't managed to move because of other outside influences, but we were hoping to move at that point within about a month. So we had a lot of packing to do. So, sense of self-importance. Yes, she always has considered herself to be a prodigy. I went to the Royal Academy at 8. Preoccupation with power, beauty or success. Yes, her children, her family are all the most successful children and family that they ever could be. Very proud of them all, boast to everybody about it. Yes, all of that. Entitled? Yes, I think so. She has a sense of entitlement, as does somebody else I know. I'm not going to point any fingers, Martina, but there is a sense of, do you know who I am? Do you know what I've achieved in my life? So there's that. Can only be around people who are important or special. I wouldn't say that's particularly true. My mother liked to be around, in a sort of condescending way, liked to be around people who didn't challenge her and who admired her. She liked to be around people who admired her. So generally speaking, when she was young, it was old ladies who asked her about her family, and she could boast all about us and get them cups of tea, and they would sort of hang on her every word. That was her sense of the sort of people to be around. She did not like being with people who were sort of ultra intelligent, who might challenge her views or argue against her about some point or some idea. She found that very disturbing and made her very anxious, so she never surrounded herself with people like that. It was always people who were lesser, she could guarantee to admire her. Interpersonally exploitative for their own gain. Oh my God, yes. Yes, I mean, honestly, literally anything. She'd say anything if it makes life better for her. Hide anything, lie about stuff. She's done that all our lives. Both my sister and me. What's that? I don't want that. Oh, where's it gone to that? I don't want that. I want the previous page. There we are. Arrogant. Yeah, well, there's that sense of, do you know who I am? And look at what I've achieved. And I don't think anybody's had a better life than I have. So there's that. Lack of empathy, yes. Doesn't give a shit about what my sister or I feel. It was pretty hard, it sounds awful, but she was pretty hard on my father when he was dying, because he was in loads of pain, and there were lots of things we were advised to do for him, like get a hospital bed and get carers in and all this stuff. And she just didn't want it because it ruined her house. And he would do anything for her, so he agreed. But God, honestly, he suffered a lot because of her house proudness, house pride, and lack of empathy as to how it was affecting him. Must be admired, yes. I mean, I've just said it, I think, in all the other points. Loves to be admired. Loves to boast about what she's achieved, what her children have achieved, what her grandchildren have achieved. But even when it's them achieving it, somehow it reflects well on her. So that, she came to see a play, and I was talking to somebody afterwards, she'd come up and say, I'm his mother, he gets it from me. So there was always, it came from everything, came from her. It was egocentric. The world revolved around her, so anything that was good in any of us was due to her. So there we go. Bit of a rant, but I've enjoyed it. I hope you have. I'm sure you have. I think my sister blames my mother for a lot of her misfortune, or a lot of her sort of emotional baggage. This might sound odd, having said all the things I've said, but I wouldn't say I blame her for my emotional baggage. I cut ties with her emotionally, probably before I got married, really. Quite a long time ago, in my 30s, late 20s maybe. Because she was too demanding. And not in a good way. It was, somehow expected rather than a sort of a fair exchange. I'm questioning myself, really. Do you think your kids owe you? But that's always the impression that I got from both of them, was that we owed them, and so we were a constant disappointment, my sister and I, is how it feels. So when I I would periodically lose it with them, or with her particularly, when she had said something that I thought was totally unreasonable, I would just go, okay, put the phone down, and I would cheerfully, I say this, but I think it's true, that was it for me. I was like, do you know what? Don't need to make up this. Don't need to kind of make everything better. And I could just hang in there. It didn't affect me emotionally. I didn't feel bereft. I didn't feel I owed her anything. And I suppose that's what it is. I didn't feel like it was me that was in the wrong. I felt like it was her that was in the wrong. And if she wanted to do something about it, she should. But I certainly wasn't going to do anything about it. And by and large, all that meant was that eventually my dad would go, well, your mother's very upset because blah, blah, blah. And it would always be sidestepped as to why it had happened. And that thing she said, well, she didn't mean that. What she really meant was... And it was... So never apologised for, no admittance of any error, just I'd somehow misunderstood what she meant. And I'm many things, but I'm not stupid. So... I always saw through it. So again, or even that kind of added distance to any emotional attachment to her. The fact that she couldn't be honest about it, and she expected me to be taken in by her excuse. Never was. I suppose that's what it is. You suddenly think, I don't trust you because I don't believe you, because you're lying to get what you want, and you're happy to do so. And if you get what you want, then that's it, you're sorted. But meanwhile, I've been lied to. So I don't trust you, and I can't rely on you. So I won't. And as I say, I reckon that happened in my late 20s, mid to late 20s. Yeah. Sad, isn't it? But true.
And it would be so funny, it would be so funny if I had $1 for everyone. And it would be so funny, it would be so funny, the day in the life of a nobody. And it would be so funny, it would be so funny if I had $1 for everyone. And it would be so funny, it would be so funny, the day